Right, folks, here we are. The start of the flat season, lads. Now we've got Grand National out of the way. Much to mine and Sean's disappointment. But no, anyway, jokes aside, obviously, we've got some big meetings to look forward to. I know, Jamie, earlier on you mentioned the Craven and stuff like that. But we're going to concentrate on this video on the Guineas, the 2,000 and the 1,000 Guineas. So anyway, let's not beat around the bush then. We'll start with the 2,000 Guineas. I'll say we throw it over to the flat experts, Sean. We'll let Mark and Jamie kick us off. So, coming in, Mark, I'll let you start this video. Who would you like for the 2,000 then?
I bet he's eating you alive, isn't it? That you can't talk about a jump horse for at least the next 5 and a bit months or so. But yeah, so anyway, 2,000 Guineas. Me and Jamie. I don't know who's going to be the brains at the bunch out of us two for this, but we'll give it our best shot. Anyway, there's 2 horses at the top of the fields, both trained by AP O'Brien. That's always the way. But I'm just siding with Little Big Bear. It was a tough one between that and Augusta Rodin, who, excuse me, in an interview with AP O'Brien at the beginning of last week, he said that this is his best option to win the Triple Crown. But I like Little Big Bear. I was really impressed with him last season. He had a couple of good runners. He started off his career in the second in the yielding at the Curragh. Obviously, since then, he's gone on an unbeaten run. He was a non-runner at Newmarket. But he had 2 very good performances at the Curragh. And we all know, the 2,000 Guineas over the Rolling Mile. I know Jamie's going to be definitely looking at big price odds on this one. I can tell by the reaction on his face. So I've got a couple of Brucey bonuses in this one. Really tough one to call, lads, to be fair. I mean, you look at the 2 at the top of the market. There's another one, Charlie Appleby, Noble Style. You can get around 10 to 1 on that one. And if you want to go further down, John Faley Gosden's got a really good prospect in Slip of the Pen, who ran a very...
You reading my notes again, Mark?
just tell by your eyes, Glenn.
Well, no, I'm such an expert. You just knew I'd be talking about it, didn't you?
Well, I'll say...
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Well, I say it's so early on in the season. I said Migration won the Lincoln, the first big real race of the season. But now it gets to the nitty gritty because we start to get, put the missing pieces of the puzzle together to see where they're going. Both Augusta Rodin and the Little Big Bear are both entered into the Derby, so it'd be a cracking race on this one. But I think for me, Little Big Bear just edges it for me. I think he's got that slightly more edge of ability over Augusta Rodin. But like I said, willing to take it on, and it could be anyone's race over the Rolling Mile. So Little Big Bear for me to kick things off in the 2,000 Guineas.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I made a note on my notes that, like, as you say about you look at the top 6. The top 6 finished last season by either winning their last 2 races up to their last 4 races, so somewhere in between that scale. So yeah, he's quite a tough one to pick out. Since I've started nattering, I guess I'll carry on. I was going to have a plump for Andrew Balding's Chaldine at 7 to 1. He's a Frankel colt, so he should step up to the 1 mile. He hasn't run in the 1 mile yet. Last time he ran, I've got to say, made some notes for myself. Like, he missed a break last time, but he stayed really well. And a couple of times he has run, he's won sort of quite gamely. He's seen off some late challenges, so I was quite sort of impressed by that. He's beaten a couple that are in it. He's beaten the Royal Scotsman, Nostrum and Naval Power. They're all currently, got an entry at the minute. One thing that goes against the top of the market is you've got to go back to 2017 to find a favourite winner, and that was Churchill. So that, bodes well for the bigger prices. It bodes well for a Jamie Brownlow selection, and it gives hope to, like say, the other prices. So I'd say Chaldine would be, my selection for the race. But I will give you a second choice, believe it or not.
Hold on a minute.
You sort of touched upon it. Our second choice, I was looking at Noble Style, Mark, as you say, at 10 to 1. Looks to be Charlie's probably best option in the race. I'm guessing Buick will ride it. It's Godolphin's sort of first choice in the race, looking at the odds. And it does seem to be his best option to win it. If it, as you say, obviously, Mark, it's always still a bit early, so obviously lots of things can change. But if it does go right now on looking at the odds, like I say, 10-1 with our friends at Unibet, it does seem to be Charlie's best choice. So you're assuming maybe Buick will ride it. I am a bit of a Doyle fan, as some people might know, so I do like Doyle, and I often look out for his rides, and I'm guessing he might pick up the sort of second ride on Midnight Mysterious Midnight at 16. So that'll be another one I'll sort of keep a little eye on. And then I say I was just going to mention, as you picked it out, Mark. The Gosdens have got a couple of runners. They got Slip of the Pen. Hasn't run on the turf yet, though, has it, Mark? Been running on the poly weather or poly track,
yeah, the weather,
over there at Kempton, wasn't it? Yeah. So obviously, you'd be interested to see how both those handle the switch to turf. And then very finally, a big 33-1, you've got Evie Johnson Houghton, however you pronounce her surname, Streets of Gold, which won 5 races last year over the 6 to 7 furlong. So, yeah, it's a big price. It's a bit of you'd have to consider it a bit of a dark horse, definitely stepping up and trip, and it's a strong top of the market, as you say, Mark. But looking at those stats and having to go back to 2017 to find a favourite winner, it does bowl well for the rest of them. So yeah, as I say, a couple there that I think I would keep an eye out for, and probably maybe look for an each way on a couple of them possibly. But I think my first choice would be Chaldine at 7-1 then, if that's how it's pronounced. So that's mine then. Who do you like then, Jamie?
Well, there's quite a few that I looked, but before I start, I'm just going to say there's going to be a few new people coming into the game, as in with into the sport with flat. So like with obviously with Sean and yourself, where you don't really know some of the trainers and all that. So here's some of the trainers of the names to look out for. So you've got like Roger Farian, Charlie Appleby, Richard Fahey, Kevin Ryan, Charlie Johnson, John Faded Gosden, and you've got George Bowie, Richard Hannon, Ian Jardine, Aidan O'Brien. And with the jockeys to look out for, you've got Sam Felden, who's a very good apprentice jockey with a £5 claim. Billy Loughnane, the old all-weather apprentice champion. You've got Tom Eves, William Buick, Joanna Mason, Nicola Curry, Oisin Murphy, where he's just come back from his ban. You've got Ryan Moore, Chris Hayes from Ireland, Holly Doyle, Josephine Gordon, James Doyle, and Oisin Orr, who rides for Richard Fahey. Then you've got the owners, which are really important because you need to have a look for the colours. So you've got Cheveley Park, which is the red, white, and blue. You've got Godolphin with the actual royal blue. You've got Shadwell Estate, who used to be, which is of a famous owner, which is now changed. You've got Jugmore, which is the old famous Frankel colours. And then you've got Qatar Racing, Ammo Racing. You've got the Battenberg Silks, which are Syndicate, NPR, Onto a Winner, Owners Group of the Old Purple. So back on the Newmarket, which is on the Saturday, 2,000 guineas, Group 1 for Colts. Like Mark said, you got 62 entries of this race, so we're all like doing it quite early, so we don't know who's going to be entering.
Yeah, of course, it can always change.
Yeah, but it always change. So there's about 3 I had a look. One that I totally agree with Mark, with the Little Big Bear, with trained by Aidan O'Brien. Won 6 furlong as a 2-year-old last season, and he's won the Keenan Phoenix Stakes, a Group 1, beaten by Persian False by 5 lengths. That was at the Curragh. And Persian False now is a sire now because he's retired. So he's breeding in the breeding sheds. There's others that I like. You got Silver Knot, which is trained by Charlie Appleby. Last season had 6 runs as a 2-year-old. The last time he won was at Newmarket on the 8th of October in the autumn stakes, Group 3, and won by a neck. And then his last run, he won at the Breeders' Cup in America in Keeneland in November, finishing second in the juvenile turf behind Victoria Road, and that was trained by Aidan O'Brien. So that's the 2 that I'm looking at in the field. Depending, I'm not really selecting who I'm literally going to go for at the moment. I'm just looking at the field itself. And then the last one is called Knight, which is trained by Simon and Ed Crisford. Now, Knight is side by Mamus, so decent ground would be okay for him. Obviously, with Newmarket, because it's a chalk-based ground where it's quite, it drains very well. So you get good ground or good firm ground. Last time he ran it on heavy conditions at Newbury in a seven furlong race called the Horace Hill Stakes Group 3. And that was beating Grey Monument by 1 3/4 lengths. So the three that I like roughly in the field, I don't know what the odds are or anything like that. You got a Little Big Bear, Silver Knot, and Knight for the 2,000 guineas for Colts.
I can tell you Little Big Bear's 5 to 1, but the rest of them I didn't look at, so I can't tell you. Okay, all right. Sean, what have you sort of, what sort of swayed you?
Nothing grabbed me, Flynn. Frankly, they're not jumping anything. They're not running over anything over a mile. I don't know. Now, look, as the lads have touched upon, it's a massive field already. That obviously gets whittled down. We know how it all works. We know we're ahead of time. It's the whole purpose of it. But I think when O'Brien speaks, you should listen. And when he says he's got a horse possibly that he could have win the Triple Crown, it's very difficult to just be able to look further. I know you should look further, and I have. There are others that stuck out to me. The Roger Varian, is it Sakir?
Yeah, I was looking through my notes earlier on and just
if I'm honest, you stood out as well. But if I'm honest, looking back at it, I think with what O'Brien has said about this horse and the way he's very confident. Again, we know jockey booking will always be key in these things. Which more likely will look like side with that horse, that's another plus. We know Little Big Bear from last year was a brilliant horse and put a lot to the sword early doors and went on and finished races. Didn't just see them out, finished races, put them to the sword and went. So I get that side of the Mark's thinking, I really do. Again, we're still quite in advance of this, but it's one of those where I'm taking it off of what O'Brien, someone of his stature, has turned around and said he's got a horse like this. It's difficult. It's difficult in racing terms to just dismiss that just to look for a bigger price.
Quite,
you look back over the field, you look back over his races, and you can understand why he says that. Just like Little Big Bear goes and wins races as opposed to just sees them out. And the fact that he thinks he's got more, like the horse has got more to deliver, is a massive plus. So it's nothing adventurous from my point of view. It's not me just being boring because I don't like, or I'm not the biggest fan of flats. But like me and Glenn have spoken in the past, we don't just sit there during the summer periods and twiddle our thumbs waiting for our tweed and flat caps so we can go out to jump racing. We still follow the sport. It's just a different discipline. We just have different levels of interest in it. So I will still watch this with great interest, and for me, it will be Augusta Rodin, who I hope will then go and do the Triple Crown.
Keep an eye out for the Craven Stakes, because Aidan O'Brien's got to have a runner called and if you have a look, I think it's in the actual in the field for the entries. He's Paddington, I think, or he's going to be running in one of the races in the Craven meetings. So he's going to be seeing if he's up to his level to be involved in the 2,000 guineas.
So there is still a bit of action before we get to them, but
there is a few. There's going to be a few bubbles burst. The next couple of days, and there's going to be a few of them that will be carrying on and like the road to the 2,000 guineas on a Saturday. And I'll tell you what, it's a really good. It's a very good meet. The 2,000 and 1,000 guineas, because of obviously I'm a race maker, so I'm there, so I will be there, and I'll try and share it and see if we can put it up on our video where I was there on the 1,000 guineas on the fillies. That was a really good day from there, but that'll be good. I'll put that up on the video for you and all that, and you can see it. It was Cachet where you could hear me shouting "Cachet, Cachet,"
Yeah, I remember,
and things like that. And you could we'll share that on the actual video, and also where he came in as well, because there was loads of people there, and it was really
Yeah,
really good with James
am I
Boyle.
mistaken? Wasn't you near the owners or something? Or
No, it wasn't the owners was Highclere owners, which is another syndicate. And Cachet is running the Breeders' Cup and obviously won the 1,000 guineas last year. That was a bit of a sight to behold, because I was in the monks with the George Bowie family, and that was really good experience. And
yeah,
it
so
was
I
great.
remember you with someone, and I remember like everybody going mental and whatnot. Yeah, and it was nice. It was nice to see. It's nice. To see.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But I'll be there again.
Yeah.
On the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas. So I'll be representing myself and Money Rider, and
Yeah.
also and everybody else really. So yeah,
I'm sure
it's a
you'll have a
good day.
blast as
Good
you
day.
always do, mate. I'm sure. Okay, all right. Well, I guess let's just go round in a loop then. I suppose, Mark, the 1,000 guineas. Then, who's the winner?
Who's the winner? Or if I knew who the winner was now, Glenn, I'll be sitting here. I think this one's a bit more difficult than 2,000 guineas myself. I've gone for a stab in the dark, and I've gone for a horse called Lezu, trained.
Right, hang on. Someone lean into his screen and check his notes to see if he's been looking at mine.
But that reaction is obviously one that you've looked at, Glenn.
Yeah, mate, carry on.
He's looking at mine. He's looking at mine.
Lezu, trained by Ralph Beckett. I thought he had a cracking year last year as a 2-year-old. And when I see, our good friends Unibet having priced at 16-1,
yeah,
got the favourite Meditate, who's 7-2. Last time out at Newmarket, Lezu finished strongly, beating Meditate. So we always say the 2-year-olds, you never know what you're going to get. They're going to be a little bit, undisciplined at times. But I thought Lezu was very, very disciplined as a 2-year-old last year. I'm looking forward to seeing her, as a 3-year-old. I thought she's done well a couple of times at Newmarket. So I think that experience running on a track like this. I mean, Jamie's been there a few times to know, it has a huge dip. Is that around the 2-3 furlong mark, Jamie?
Yeah, round about there. Where you got near the bushes, where there is a dip where they go down and up, and it makes him as a little bit of an incline, and it's where the horses normally tend to lose their balance, and it's quite you've got to be on it, and obviously quite a lot of some of the horses do tend to lose their balance running up against going towards the winning line. So you do normally get some strange prices as well. Not normally you get a small price, but like last year, Cachet won it by, I think it was 9-1, 16-1. I can't really remember on that particular day. And then on Richard Hannon won a 66-1 winner. So it's not always a favourite all the time.
No, not always. No, you're quite right, Jamie. It doesn't always happen. Well, since Mark's already mentioned one of mine, and I'll say that one of mine. Yes, the self-confessed jump fanatic does have more than one choice. The Lezu was really my second choice, Mark, and I'll tell you why in a second. As you say, ran really well, winning that Judgment Cheveley Park Stakes, didn't it? Where it beat Meditate.
Yeah.
And if I pronounce it right, Moore or Muir. So sort of turned the tables and won that. But my I suppose my first choice at the minute would be again Sean. To use a short phrase that Sean used, not mostly inspiring, but I was going to go for the second favourite, that Tahir.
Yeah.
The way she reeled in Meditate in the Moyglare last year, I thought that was well impressive. Even the old race caller went, "This is astounding," or something like that. She's still got a bit to learn coming out the stall. She jinked a bit in all her races so far, but I'm one of the first people to say that like we get carried away, or the media get carried away as soon as an horse runs. You know, the next Frankel, the next Baid, the next Alti, or whatever. You know, I mean, whatever discipline you're talking about. But I thought she looked proper special, and I think she could be, you know, well, just one to beat going forward. If she can do that already after couple of races, what she's going to do with a bit of experience is the way I'm looking at it. You know, she must have been about 5 lengths down, or at one point on Meditate. And Meditate's only lost to 2 horses, and that is Tahira and Lazoo. So you know, you can't really sort of you know, can't really give much of a better accolade than that, in my opinion. So yeah, that was going to be my first choice, and yes, you know, sort of obviously much more of a shorter price mark, but I definitely did like the look, like you say, Lazoo at 16s. I thought that was a pretty decent price, to be honest, for an horse that's shown some decent potential, you know. But then I did have one more. I had one roughie. One roughie to throw into the mix. You can tell what I've been doing this afternoon. I had one roughie to throw into, and this is just like a bit of a stab in the dark type thing. And that was the Cheveley Park runner, Casvera. It's 50-1 with Unibet. It's only ran a couple of times and has run at Newmarket. In fact, sorry, correct myself, she's only ran once. But they didn't go a massive sort of shake that day. So if it's a fast-paced race, then she might get caught for a bit of pace and might get you know, outpaced. But at the end of her race, at Newmarket, she really did have to dig deep to win. And you know, it was a bit of a, you know, it was one of them early career races. It was a bit novice-y, bumping into each other and a bit wandering and this, that, and the other. But you know, she wasn't put off by any of it, and she sort of bravely battled and bumped her way through, and it was even bumped really late near the line, and still sort of even though she was hanging a bit, but still managed to stay in front and win. So I just thought that could be a bit of a, you know, long Hail Mary punt. You know, I mean, you never know. But at 50-1, I just thought I'd throw that one in there. So yeah. Anyway, so my first choice, Tahir, and then my second choice was Lazoo. So, Sean, who did you sort of like in that one then, mate?
I've gone the opposite to you, as opposed to having multiple. There's one that stood out to me that I kept going back to. You know, where there's that, for some reason, like you do, you try and look for a couple to hedge your bets just to see what's out there. But I kept going back to Dream of Love for the Godolphins. Still quite unexposed compared to the rest of the field. Second in Maidan to Moage, as you were just talking about.
Yeah.
By just literally on the bob, who obviously we know got beat by Lazoo and was only a half a length behind Meditate, who looks like to go off favourite. So to still be quite unexposed as she is, and they must still think a lot of her.
Yeah.
To be touting her in at 6-1, it just kept drawing me in. You know, everything leads to this sort of horse being the more progressive, as opposed to the others that seem to be finding their form or are already in the middle of their form. Obviously, they will all have a strong season, but it seems like a horse, and you know the Dolphins are very good at being able to eke more out of what possibly is a very good horse. So for me, I went with Dream of Love. I just feel that there's more scope for progression, especially at this early start of the year.
Yeah.
Where the others might find their form near your Ascots, your whatever.
Yeah.
I think the run at Maidan will do it well good. And like you say, alluding to the horse that beat her by a short head, is one that has only lost half a length to the likes of Meditate and Lazoo. Yeah, I think there's a lot in that. So for me, Dream of Love for the Godolphins was the only one that stuck out.
Okay, mate. All right, fair enough. Jamie, what's your thoughts on the 1,000 then?
Oh, I had quite a few, even though there's entries roughly of 64 runners. But there's one that you've all missed out, you, Sean and Glenn, because I was really surprised when I was listening. So there's a horse called Polypot, who's trained by Ben Pauling.
Yeah, I did say in the Pink Silks.
Yeah, in the Pink Silks, Ben Pauling. It's interesting because, you know, you know, he's a national hunt trainer.
Oh
So he's
yeah,
very
I definitely done a bit of research while I was there.
There you go. You see, so obviously Polly Pot was trained by Harry Dunlop, and obviously he relinquished his license, and the owners moved her to Ben Pauling's, and she's got some good form as a 2-year-old. In September in 2022 at Doncaster, won the Mayhill Stakes Group 2, winning by 1.5 lengths, and she was at 40-1. Grain conditions on good to soft. But then she went on to a Group 1 at Newmarket and finished fourth, which is a good position. I think obviously she might improve. Hopefully she might get entered for it. Actually, it'd be really interesting. I've direct messaged Ben Pauling to say if they're really interested of keeping her in the entries for the 1,000 guineas and trying to aim for her. So I haven't had no response yet. So I'm wondering if he would say something. I might tag him on the on the Twitter land. On the other one, I was looking at, it was called Running Line, trained by John and Fady Gosden. Won last time out on an all-weather at Kempton a few weeks ago, actually, in a fillies condition stakes, beating Dancing Goddess or Goodness by length. Interesting to see if she can do well on the turf, especially like at Newmarket. And then you've got another Aidan O'Brien called Statue. I think it's Statue.
I was reading that might not run though. Aidan was saying that maybe
it may not. It may do, depending on how she perform, or if she's okay on the gallops or anything, or they might put her making her as a mid-season filly. But
yeah,
I'm
sure I read a story saying that they had a bit of a setback, or it might not be a major thing, but just something that knocked the
enough to delay
back a little bit. Yeah, delay it.
It could be a mid-season filly because she's most probably just tweaked to something. And then the other one is
a few of the bettings, but just had no odds next to it or whatever.
And then the other one is Lezu. I've looked at Lezu. That keep obviously, like what Mark said, run 5 times as a 2-year-old. Had good form. The 5 runs she's had is first, second, first, and beat. Like you say, meditate and everything. So yeah, those are the ones I'm keeping a lookout if they're going to be entering for the 1,000 guineas. But keep a lookout of Polly Pot, though, you National Hunt followers.
Yeah, well, yeah, you like you say, you know what I mean. Still early doors, as you say, Jamie, and as Mark alluded to, you know what I mean, and Sean, that anything can change, as we know. They may or may not go, and like say some might pick up an injury or whatever. So
let me I'm just going to get this cat out the garden. Hold on a minute.
There you have it. Jamie's cat's going to win the 2,000 guineas.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. I'm back now.
So yeah, all right. Well, that's a little discussion that we wanted to have, lads. Sean is probably starving hungry by now. So we'll let Sean go and have his dinner. So yeah, there you go, folks. That's our selections for the 2,000, 1,000 guineas. As you say, yeah, lots can change. Lots to go on between now and then. We've got the Craven meeting and everything. So we'll sort of play it by ear. We'll try and get another video together when we can. I'm not sure exactly what that is yet, but I'm sure we'll have a discussion, boys, and sort that out. But there's our selection.
I think Mark's got a list.
Yeah, Mark has got a list. Yeah. If Mark's got anything to do with it, folks, we'll be doing a flat video every week, so don't worry about
that. Apologies.
Don't apologise. Don't apologise.
No.
Well, there's so many more top races. Like I said, it just puts the missing pieces of the puzzle together. As Jamie alluded to, you've got the Craven coming up.
You've got Newbury, you've got the Lockinge, then you've got the actual, and then you've got the you've got other meetings coming up in Sandown as well. I'm trying to think by the top of my head. Also at York, you've got the Dante meeting. Then you've got
plenty of racing to come and enjoy, definitely.
Like you said before, all roads leads up to Cheltenham. It's actually all roads leads up to the Royal Ascot. That's all I can say.
It does. It certainly
It
does.
does.
And as we've seen already in this video, folks, Sean is a massive lover of Willie Mullins, and I can see why. He is just a magician of National Hunt. But what I've noticed in this video is that he's also got a little crush on, I believe, Aidan O'Brien. So it's Aidan O'Brien love fest that we've got going on here, by the way.
It's the Irish in me. It's just, you know what I mean? Belongs over there, mate. I'm wasted over here. I need to go back to the family.
Look, it's racing. We all love it. And we all look forward to cracking racing over the next 5 months.
Yeah, without the added disruption of a bunch of idiots with any luck.
Well, whilst you mentioned that, obviously we all watched the race. We all see what unfolded, the Grand National. I'm probably more tamed, more mellowed out now at this, because at the end of the day, it's like we alluded to prior to coming on this filming, they want us to buy it. They want us to give them a reason to say that they've won. In my opinion, they haven't won. I think it's just proved, what a bunch of hypocrite idiots these so-called animal rights protesters are. Racing is a massive industry that we all love. And, we've all been there to racing stables. We've seen the care that these animals get, And a prime example I thought of earlier is Nicky Henderson when he pulled out Constitution Hill in a race because, because of the animals' welfare due to running on the ground. If that is not a reason to say all the abuse out there for running, they're the people who don't care then if a horse falls and breaks its leg and gets put down. Because to me, like racing is all about unique. There was a comment I see: money before welfare. No, that's completely nonsense.
It couldn't be further from the truth, could it?
It certainly is. But at the end of the day, I can sit here, I can rant and rave, I can talk about it till the clouds come home. But moving away from that, many congratulations to all the connections of Corrick Rambler. We won Cheltenham last month, and to come to Aintree and do what he done yesterday is fantastic, phenomenal. So I applaud that.
Handicapper must be kicking themselves because that's daylight robbery. That horse got in £10 under, and then he could have gone round again. By the way, didn't just win. I know Vanilla Air caught up, right? But let's have it right. That horse at no point was losing that race.
No,
it was impressive to do.
That was just.
You could see it when he went round. You could see it when he went round on the second circuit. You could actually see
he was jumping for fun. He was jumping for fun.
Yeah,
and it was great to see. But go in hibernation now, Glenn, for 5 months.
Same race being you, son. Where are we going?
Let them two waffle on.
I just want one little thing I want to say before we go. I thought it was fantastic to see Warren Greychicks get a winner.
Absolutely.
What a nice man and a nice yard that is. They are thoroughly nice. As I tweeted at the time, I've had conversations with the yard, whoever runs a Twitter account, and they've always been such lovely people, always responded, always liked everything you've done. And they've been through a tough time, and I'm just really pleased for them. So
I think that's the result they needed. They needed that boost. They needed that tonic. Because obviously with that that interview on Nick Luck on Sunday, where you had Warren and Nick doing an interview, and he was very emotional, which is it's hard where you put life in perspective. Where you got two young men who sadly passed away on circumstances we just don't know, and obviously with Warren, and obviously he keeps most probably in his head that he keeps answering the question why, but that Bill Baxter, that was a great result for I would say for racing for Warren and for the whole stable, and it's the same thing with Corrick Rambler. It was fantastic to see him on Nick Luck on Sunday, with Lucinda Russell and Peter Scudamore with the horse, and and having an interview with him and saying that our privilege, how lucky we are with the horse and all that, and it was all down to COVID, where they made the actual syndicate up, and that young man that student young man decided to go into horse racing, where he was watching all types of sports, and he decided to go with horse racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah,
it's a great story.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, let's wrap it up then. Let's let Sean go and get his dinner. So as you say, folks, that is it. We won't ramble anymore, and we've had our say, had our 10 pence worth. And that's our selections for the 2000, 1000 guineas. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree. Do get involved. Let us know. Comment down below. Come over onto Twitter. Tweet us, whatever, and get involved. And hopefully we'll be back again very shortly for another video as we look towards some of the other flat meetings. Hey, boys?
Yes,
definitely. Look forward to it.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
Take care.
See you later.